So in this video, I'll be explaining the process that I went through while making a traffic sign recognition system using Python. So what it does is that a camera is placed behind the rear view of our car, and it has all the visual feed of everything on the road. It detects all the signs and analyzes them and lets us know what the signs are. So like over here, we can know that 50 is the speed limit on the particular road that we're on. So for this, we've used the data set from Kaggle. We've imported it and all the other libraries along with it and unzipped all our data so that we can use it. The classes is 43, meaning that there are 43 different categories of signs in our data set, and we'll have to classify accordingly. We've retrieved all the data, collected it, and processed it so that we can work on it. We have used one-hot encoding to categorize our images into the 43 classes of categories that we have. So one hot encoding is basically a bit string with ones and zeros, ones implying that yes, this image is part of that category, and zero implying that it is not. Then we have split our data into training, testing, and validation to make our model more efficient. And we have used a sequential model to train our model on this data. So what is sequential? Basically, it's a type of model in which there are a lot of layers that go layer by layer. That is, all the layers are not connected, but are in an order. In functional API, all the layers can share data, are connected in some way. So we've used sequential. And in this, we've used a lot of things that I'll go one by one through them so that we know what everything is for. So conv2D is basically something that helps us detect all those lines and curves in our image so that we can finally extract information from it. Like filters, we have different filters. That one filter will look for vertical lines, one for horizontal lines, and so on. So 32 over here means that there'll be 32 different filters, and all of them will work on our image to find different details. I'll explain this through an image as well. Like, this is how convolution 2D works. This is the kernel size that we've mentioned over here, which is 5 by 5 in this case. So what's really happening is that this kernel gets multiplied like so, and it's multiplied using the scalar product, and the final matrix is smaller than the input matrix. So we've reduced the data that we have to work on, and we're focusing only on those things that we really care about that help us in detecting the signs. So this is basically a feature map which lets us know if that feature is present in the image or not. Like, we can consider this kernel to be the one for vertical lines. Wherever we have a positive value, there is a vertical line in the image. If its magnitude is greater, then there are more number of lines. Wherever there is a negative number means there is no vertical line over there. So for further simplifying our output, we can remove all the negative data and make them zero using the ReLU function, like so in the activation. We've again applied conv2D. We've applied it many times because this helps us in better feature extraction. After that, we've applied maxpool2D and dropout. So what this really means is that the final output that we get from convolution 2D is this, and we just want to further simplify our data so that our extraction is better and focuses on only what is important. So now in this 1156 matrix, we take the maximum value out of it. It's just reducing our data. And in dropout, we randomly do not use some of the data sets, in our layers, so that we can avoid computational cost and overfitting in some cases. Then we've repeated it a few more times to improve our model. And then we've used flatten and dense, which are basically these. If we have a matrix like so in 2D, flattening makes it in 1D. And when it's in 1D, it becomes the input layer. And then there are dense layers in between. And the final layer is also dense, not a dense layer, it's the final layer. So dense layers are all those layers between the input layer and the final layer. They're also called hidden. And all of these points are connected with all the other points in the previous layer. It's like a connected graph, so that we use all the information to come to an output and predict. So we've used some activation functions here and there. ReLU I explained earlier, and softmax is a similar one, which we have applied over here. The final layer is also dense layer, and it has 43 points, which means the 43 different categories we have in this case. So this is how our model is like. We had this input image, we applied convolution on it, we applied max pool on it to reduce our data, we flattened our data, then we applied dense layers, and we're finally moving towards our output layer. So we have made our model, we have defined everything. Now we have to compile it. And for compilation, we use an optimizer, which is ADAM. It's like stochastic gradient only, and it is a better suit in this case. And for loss, we've used categorical cross entropy, which is like so. This is what we got as the output after applying softmax activation on it. And this was what our target really is. So this function just looks at the loss, the error in detection, in prediction, and we want to definitely reduce this to make our model more accurate. So this runs 15 times, and our loss from 3.25 goes to 0.23, and our accuracy is also around 93%, which is good. We plot a graph between accuracy and loss for being able to visualize how it worked. And then we use this on our test data to predict how it worked. Also, we've used this dictionary. We have 43 classes, as I told you, but we have to also give them a name, because as an output, we'll get a number, but we should know what that number means. That is why this is the dictionary. So we get this, we try to predict the result of this image. Like, we know that this means no passing, but can the model detect it? So yes, it has been able to detect it by using the model we created with about 93% of accuracy, which is really good.